gonna be pissy. Like, it would go down to everybody having a single bedroom, with like a singular wall divider, stuff like that. It would have like no real like luxury stuff. Like, you'd get a bed and that's all you'd get, kind of thing. You'd get, I don't think with a colony of this size, any time in existence would ever be worth having the nutrient pasting, because it just pisses people off. But I would want to, like, I already planned that when I go to that location, I want to have a stockpile of like literally tens of thousands of packaged survival meals and pemmican, with the view that that's basically what my people will be living off. I won't really probably have much in the way of pets at that location. I actually don't think that one's going to reach. I don't think I'm going to have much in the way of pets beyond Legacy. Xena, she'll go with it, and all my attack animals will go with us and stuff. But like, as soon as we arrive, basically most of my hauling animals will be culled from food and stuff, like beyond whatever I need for like basic necessities of food production and stuff like that. A lot of it will cease, and that's where we'll be. Like, we won't be leaving much, kind of thing. You got the meat shield barrier. I mean, living quarters up running. See, the thing is, like, I've seen some people do like various rooms where they have like, you kind of walk in and it's sort of a trap for people. Like, you got a lot of like hungry animals and stuff, so like as soon as a person walks in that room, they just get mauled by like a whole heap of animals, stuff like that. Like, I don't think I'll do that kind of thing. Like, I can't fucking say for sure what I'll do until I'm there and stuff, but like, I don't know, I just imagine like my people get upset by a fair bit, because like we do a fair bit here to prevent people from being like upset about a lot of stuff. I don't know if that can reach maybe there, just barely. I could probably get one up there. Will reach. Perhaps corpse pits. I've seen something like that. But yeah, there's going to be, it will be the absolute like basic, like bare bones kind of like layout, basically. Because at the moment, like, everything is pretty luxurious. Everybody has got a bed. They've got extra stuff in their room. They've got lights in every single room. Like, I can't imagine fashioning lights in everybody's single row like bedrooms. Like, we had a bit of a look at that when I did Rim Connect. When I did Rim Connect, I had like individual rooms, and I didn't try to make them too big or too flash, because just people weren't staying alive. So yeah, there wasn't much point to that. They've run out of raider bodies. They eat the other rats that starve. I imagine that it's the idea. I assume that's the idea too. I just don't really like generally dabble with rats. Are we still in the heat wave? Yes. It's only been like a day or so that's fine. How's this room going? It's pretty awful, but this temperature in here is holding. Those 3 air conditioners on their own are doing pretty good. If I could make a podded room or something like that, where they just have like super, super great temperature, that would be so, so good. I could move this all down. I'm going to have to move it all down, but I'm waiting for the heat wave to pass before I start deconstructing anything around like that room or their dining room and stuff like that. And they got other places to be, but I have to shift everything over by basically 2 so that I can fit it. I actually don't know if that's gonna like jut it past. Honestly, if it jutted it past, because the thing is, like, I think I'd just put a vent on the very, very end of it, and it would be a sealed roof. I think that's the best possible way to like get this done. Would be if I moved it over so that we have a passageway just dead center down the middle, right? Move the air conditioners a little bit, whatever, so that it's all still in line and stuff. And yeah, it's kind of the only way I could really do that. I mean, there's other ways I could do it. Like, I could put a little like air conditioning pod on the end of one of these and just like super ultra pump in there if I wanted to. Like, I could have literally like this corner bit here and just have like as many air conditioners as I could fit, and it's all just air conditioners pumping inwards or something. Like, that would work too, but yeah. I'm just trying to solve a problem that I didn't feel like I needed to have in this area. I just need to like, nominally corpses are pretty dang valuable with the dead, was it with the dead life? Yeah. I don't know. I've seen like a little bit of anomaly play, but I haven't seen too much. I have seen when you get like the corpse attacks and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. The only thing with the anomaly that like bugs me is when you get like that pink monster thing and it just like heaves pink shit everywhere across your map. Before you know it, like most of your base is like covered in pink goo. Not that that's really an issue, but I imagine it probably affects like crops and shit. Also, I have like almost every fucking animal up here at the moment. And I think we've got most of the potato inside, so I'm not really worried about that. Either that or some of it's expired because, let's be honest, heatwave. But yeah, I do have panthers bringing stuff in at the moment, so it's not too bad. As long as somebody's bringing it in, that's all that matters. I'm also going to dedicate some kind of food down to like the animal area because I've got a feeding room. I don't have food in it yet because I keep trying to grow shit and they keep kind of eating stuff. Once I get them their own food to eat for a while, they'll leave my shit alone. So I'm thinking about giving them like all the potatoes and all the berries for a while or something. That might work. Hold on. Let's just give you guys just for a while until I can get a different kind of stockpile of something. Let's give you all the berries and all the potatoes, and I will want to put... I'm going to put one of those, what are they called? These things. The orbital trade beacon. I'll pop one of these in here because we should have electricity. I should do the entire room. You know, it would be okay if they actually drop shit down there or near it. Sorry. But every time I get deliveries, it goes into like this fucking area up here. Even though I've tried to make other storages, I literally made this storage in and around this particular one and it didn't work. I don't know if this has got like all. It doesn't though. Maybe that's what the difference is. Maybe it just needs like all shit allowed or something, like one square next to it. Because I have heard before, if you do trade and it will go to like the nearest like stockpile location or as close outside to it as possible. But that doesn't make any sense because this is not my last one and that's not my nearest. Because that one is. Or even arguably like one of the ones in around, like I had one in there. I guess they destroyed it. But yeah, I had others. Hungry pen animals. Is that the ducks? Yeah, I bet it's the ducks. Okay, we got 27 eggs. When those hatch... Hold on. What are we going for animals? I got another thrombo calf. Nice. Hold on. Let me just go up into this. We got 90 odd ducks. We got like 40 of them are babies, so probably 10 of them probably get culled when they hit adulthood. Plus there's another 20 odd eggs in here. I'm going to release this back into the area, I think. I think that might be the best way to do it. So I'll just get this all sorted out to allow the ducks back in. I'll check on the chickens separately in a moment. The only problem with this is that I do have to go and find all of these markers separately. I don't think there's one on the top side. Yeah, I've got a few pen markers in and around here. I've just got to find them all. The reason why I have a few and not just one is when I bring in a caravan from random sides of my map, I want them to, you know, unhitch the fucking caravan as soon as friggin' possible. So now my ducks should be able to run wild and free if I just allow... And it looks like a cat might come in here. Don't know. I want them to leave this open for a hot second. It's going to let everything else in here, but I don't have any food in here for a second. So this should be fine. Animals, no ducks. Hopefully that prevents them from taking them all the way up to a hitching post and wasting time. Like, Shadow should want to do this. Hold on. Oh no, somebody did it. Somebody left them open. Here they go. The mass, like, duck exodus thing. Think about it. I'm unsure what the flesh mass heart destroys. I assume everything short of building structures. Funny specifically that. Most don't like the polarizing threats, the ones that have specific ways to be dealt with, which require learning, adapting. Fleshmat heart, I guess you can be compared to manhunters with a siege. It's a little hard to explain without going into detail. As far as I've seen with them, you fight them with fire and shit, and that's fine. Most people have, like, incendiary launchers, molotovs, and all sorts of stuff. A lot of people have, like, you know, psycasters with, like, the different kind of mods and DLCs and shit and stuff, right? So a lot of people have, like, a lot of different ways to deal with stuff like that. I don't so much have a problem with the threat, the different kind of threat that's added to the game, because, like, I quite find the undead is quite an interesting one for me personally. I see you going in there, little cat. You're going in there to snack on eggs, aren't you? Absolutely. Hopefully that door shuts. Oh no, it's going to mate. Okay, sorry. False alarm. Um, anyway, who's having major break? Marlboro. Why? Heat stroke. Mate, just go stand inside for 5 minutes, yeah? Anyway, yeah, I don't have a problem with that because, like, the thing is, like, even in core game, like, a lot of the threats, like, the biggest threats that I come across, the only one that's been so far actually threatening to my colony was that, like, mech raid that had the psychic emanator that pissed everybody off, as well as having, like, I think it was, like, 19 odd fucking inferno cannons or something like that, an equal amount of the heavy siege guns and stuff, and plus a couple of extras and stuff. That was legitimately an issue, and like you get a few of them in most like raids, but like not like that. And like even comparatively, in my first location back when we only had like 100 odd people, I came across like a triple raid that happened, and they were all heavily armed and just happened to arrive in just the perfect spots to actually be a genuinely huge threat to my colony, to the point where we actually had to like tactically fight and retry it over and over, and it was like a 90-minute battle just like get through that with like, I think like, I don't know, it was several casualties. It was one of the highest casualty battles in a low colony count that I've had, and that was because it wanted to take 4 of my originals by comparison, and I just said no. I don't know, I'm having some water. Incinerators are fun. Didn't think a straight flamethrower would be so fun in RimWorld. Hellcat rifles are awesome too. Barely worse. ARs, underbarrel limited charge flamethrowers. Rarity makes me consider if it's worth it because holy mega clusters, Batman. I've seen some of those on people's things, and I'm like, that's a strong no. But that's not what stops me from getting something like the DLCs. Like, I don't know. I don't have too much interest in a lot of the DLCs. Like, biotech keeps me away from it because you can have children in the game, and I just cannot, A, deal with, like, adding kids to this thing, and B, is, like, if I had the ability for my people to randomly breed, my god, would have an issue. I haven't booted up current colony in 2 weeks-ish because 6+ mechs cluster in one session back-to-back was driving me worse. Yeah, auto mortars before the last one. That's another thing too, is when you have like a really, really bad run for a while, it gets difficult to play. Like no joke, when we had like the mass starvation and everybody was like really genuinely very upset, like that was very hard. That was difficult to play through. Psychologically, it was exhausting because it was just non-stop. Every couple of minutes was just somebody doing slaughtering, what do you call it? The murdering, jailbreaker, sadistic rage, somebody having a tantrum, threatening to break something of actual importance or need. And yeah, we actually had somebody break a generator, which is why we have barriers around the generators now. I generally never bothered, but it became so fucking critical when we came into winter. Everybody was starving, and the only hope we had was we had a small indoor grow area, and we had a geothermal thing. We had just enough power to run the electricity, and we were relying on making it through that winter, getting that crop near the end of it, and hoping that everybody could kind of like just chill the fuck out for a little while. And yeah, eventually we got there, but like it didn't go smoothly at first. Like somebody broke it, straight up just broke that, and then most of my colony died. So we had a second crack at it, and we did a little bit better, only to walk into like the worst kind of spring. And then the following, we got through that spring, and then we worked into worst kind of fucking summer, and it was just like one after the other for like a couple of years in game. Like this colony went through some shit. I'm just watching them bring all the potatoes in and shit. And I forgot to check on my chickens. Hold on. We've got 75 at the moment. We could wait for a few more chickens to pop, I think. Because I need them to not just lay some eggs. There's a good chance that some of these might be like malnourished. No? Okay, they're okay. Seeing panthers get in here. and 16 eggs. So we'll wait till that pops, and then we'll wait for like one more set after that, and we'll see how it goes. For the chickens, they might have enough, you know. Or with auto mortars before the last one. I totally blame mech clusters also been handling some stuff, not having the energy. No, I get it. I remember a while back you said you were like dealing with some stuff, so why, like, even if like you redeem stuff, like I appreciate it, but I never kind of like, I never try to like, I don't know, forcibly like engage you in a conversation or anything like that. Not that I forcibly try to engage people in conversations, but I normally just acknowledge you, because like I know that if you wanted to talk and stuff, you'd be talking and whatever. An instant if it gives a chance. Well, yeah, I don't know. I hope shit's going all right. Better. That'd be the best way to say it. I hope shit's going better. And yeah, it doesn't help when like you're playing a game and that game just kicks you as well while you're like not in the best place. Because like it's hard to play through, like especially if you give a shit about your colony. Like not everybody gives a shit about their RimWorld colony, and some of them are like, it's fine if they die, I'll just start again, there's no attachment. But if you genuinely like care about trying to like keep your colony and shit's just going bad and it just keeps doing that, it's fucking awful. And sometimes RimWorld does that. When did this heatwave be over? It started on the 9th and it's the 11th, so it's probably still got like another day. I just want to move that so we can solve a little bit of the thing, because that's like really ultra hot. The only other thing I could do, I don't really want to do, is I could move it all down or up by 1. And that would allow me to put like a row of air conditioning or something through here or whatever. I could also, without moving it, and there's a possibility, without moving it, I could put a air conditioner pod, like because I'm having to wait to do this, I could put an air conditioning pod over here and I could make the entryway into these like down the bottom here. It would make it much more likely that they'd only go in through the first one. Honestly, I could put like a doorway through that one, but it would make everybody come through here, and I know that. But I'm trying to just think of the way where I could possibly get, so hold on. What I'm thinking, get out of that vision. I'm thinking about if I was to bring this, say, down to here, right? So therefore, these air conditioners would not be in here. This would just be some kind of random gaps visually in it. Like the only other thing is like that to there would equal the second line that would match that. God damn the space. Inspired recruitment from Esme and inspired recruitment from Tadashi. We don't have anybody to recruit at the moment. And the other thing I'm thinking of is this would be where the gap would be. So everything would move over, which would mean this would go from there to, I think its doorway would be here. And me moving it over by 2, which means that this wall would be over to about here. With the least amount of movement, I could disrupt all of the dining halls, or I could potentially put an air conditioning pod on the side of like one of these buildings and have that venting. An air conditioning pod would be great if I didn't already have this perfectly lined up to there already. But moving it over, god damn. I don't want to have to move it over, but I'm going to have to move it over and I can't get in here. It's just, I don't know. I kind of liked how I had it look because it kind of like pulled in around the corner instead of pulling it tight and wider here. You know, who's a major break risk? Several people, because it's hot and there's nothing I can do about that heat wave, people. You just basically got to kind of ride it out. Inspired billing Bennett's. What? Inspired. Hold on. Where's Bennett's? What the fuck is he inspired with? I did not read that. Hold on. Everybody's going out of their name thing. I put it back. Wrong way around. Bennett's, mate. The fuck did you just get inspired to do? I don't think that's an order. That ain't an order. Oh my god. Alphabetical, please. Bennett's. You. You are inspired taming. Why the fuck did I get inspired billing? Anyway. That is something. I'm pretty sure they don't have billing on here because they've got bills on the stations and shit, but like, yeah. I don't know. At least they're like cooking up a storm. Getting around about the 3,000. Oh yeah, so I moved the thing down lower, but I didn't actually say that they can't have... If I take it off the ground, they will just put it somewhere else. Give me all these benches. I want to take berries and potatoes out of here. Okay. And the only reason why I want berries and potatoes out of here, I know that they just brought it in here, is because I want it in here. And I want that temporarily so that they have it. I know I'm making a shit ton of rice and it would make more sense to put all the rice down there. But for just the moment, I just want to shove like all that food down there because that's like 16,000 food at least. And that could keep the animals the fuck away from my crops. If I could keep them away from the crops for one cycle, even one cycle would be enough to get so much food that I could just probably fill up that area with a heap as well. Plus adds a bunch of bills to waste all of our good materials because they get inspired billing. Lol. That's hilarious. Yeah, no, I could imagine like inspired billing. Like the only thing I can think of is, you know how you get the bills here and stuff? Is like maybe they're inspired to like do some of those. I don't know. Are you carrying unfertile? Yes, good. I was wondering why I wasn't seeing any of that in here. But yeah, I don't know. You know, the funniest thing is when I started playing RimWorld, I didn't know that you had to make bills. And I didn't understand what bills were in RimWorld. It was one of the very first things that I kind of came across that I didn't understand. Because I think I made a fireplace and I think I cooked on that. Then Grim's like, oh no, you just make a, you make a stove. Like you make a fuel stove or you make an electric stove. And so I'm like, oh, cool. So that shit just does automatic. Anyway, nobody clarified anything. So I just put down a cooking station and I'm like, I disabled my furnace, my fucking fire thingy from making stuff. And I'm like, nobody's making any food. And like, I remember like showing Grim. It was one of those like adorably stupid moments. And I'm just like, for all the things that I'm like really good at and like pick up on like straight away, this was one I obviously didn't get. And I'm like, look, I've got like 3 or 4, like, I don't know, stoves. And he's like, yeah, what about the bills? And I'm like, oh no, I'm not charging anybody for stuff. Like, it was just so fucking awful to think back on that. That's how I sort of saw it. Because I'm like, oh, I can add a bill. I can charge my people. And I'm like, no, they should be able to eat for free. They can do that on a fireplace. But that's not how this works. These are actually tasks to give them. I'm curious as all hell why the RimWorld people decided to call these bills when they could have just called it like a task or something like that. Like, there's so many different things that could have been done. But yeah, just stupidity for stupidity's sake. It's one of those things. Reduce the work by half on, was it? On 10 bills. Yeah, maybe. I imagine that instead of like when you make, like if they're inspired billing, instead of like it taking a while to make 4 items, they make 4 times the item or something like that. Like, you know, maybe, okay. Bear with me here. So you know how you get the bills and you can have like cook a simple meal, or you can have 4 times cook a simple meal. Imagine inspired billing be that you have it all set to cook a simple meal, and every so often somebody gets inspired and they start cooking 4 times the amount or something like that. Like that would actually be a problem for a lot of colonies that are like really tight on like their food situation and how much resources are going where. But I could see that actually being a thing, you know, like that shit makes sense to me. Kind of thing. I think I've heard such things being called bills in other games. I have no idea what it could have been though. I don't know either. Because somebody else said that once too. They're like, oh, it's in another game as well. And I'm like, I've never come across it. But then again, I've also never really played games where you have to set up a task and like, you know, manage a quantity or something like that and what access it has to certain products and stuff. Like, yeah. RimWorld's one of those ones where it's not like... It is super detailed, but it's not super detailed. Like if you take it like one production bench at a time and one like tab at a time and like take your time with it, it's not that bad. Like I would say for most people when they look at this screen, this is horrible for most people because it seems like so overwhelming, but most people have only got 5 to 10 people and you got the time to allocate out like, as you get them, like, their specific stats. So that shit's easy and stuff. Beza, I see you sipping. What are you doing? You're finally catching a RimWorld. Nah, I'm joking. I feel like you've been, like, genuinely rightly busy and stuff. How's your CB and shit going? I've almost got my chicken production and shit up. We got the duck production up just perfectly. So out of interest, with the ducks and the chickens and stuff, because they constantly lay eggs, a lot of the eggs that are already hatched, anything that hatches will just be adult meat once it, like, gets to it. But if I have 50 chickens laying eggs around the place and I only have... how many cats have I got? I got like 15, but I also have bonded ones. And I've got panthers and I have bonded ones. They're all meat eaters. I'm pretty sure the Megasofts eat meat as well. So, like, if they get access to eggs, they'll eat it. But they'll hopefully stop getting in here and eating our good meat. So that should give us more meat for the, like, I was going to say for the adults, but for the people of my colony, you know. I've been hella busy. It's alright. Most of the busy has been good stuff. That's good. It sounds so generic, but it's good. I know my responses sometimes are just like something. A lot of RimWorld stuff is inspired, influenced by other things. Shield belts are blatantly June. Actually, I've thought of maybe Luciferian is supposed to be spice from June, since you need to... what was it? You need it to live like spice. I actually haven't watched any of the June movies myself, but I've heard of some of these references and stuff before. I just imagine it's like... most things have a place where they, like, reference it. Like, the fact that, like, you can fix up most of your people with, like, bionic stuff. Like, whenever I see stuff like that, I automatically think of, like, the OG classic Teen Titans stuff with, you know, the dude with all the... was it? He's not a robot, he's bionic or something like that. Anyway, there was a distinction and stuff they made in, Cyborg. They made the distinction in the show that his bits and pieces are like a certain classification and stuff like that. I think it's shit like that, because, like, this person here that's sleeping, Mark, like, if you look at his eye and stuff, it just reminds me of, like, a slightly bionic eye going up into, like, it's not just the eyeball, it's like the socket and surrounding area. Stuff like that, like, so, oh, poor Corpsey. Oh, mate. I gotta get you a better bedroom for a little while. Trello can stay with that shit, but you... Acosta and Corpsey, hold on, let me see if we've got a new bedroom for you. You should have one over here. Let's find you a good bed. I don't want you to be dealing with that for a while. That one's good enough. Yeah, it's got light. Okay, let's, this'll take a minute. I think it was Acosta. But first up, let's get Corpsey. Bear with me a second. I get Corpsey and I'll make sure I get your right partner. Corpsey. Alright, and who's your partner? That's not going to help me too much, but... Acosta. It is Acosta. I think I may have talked about it already, but last week I had my first employment support session. You did. Hopefully it went well. I've been working on doing job applications, made CVs, signed up for courses that will help me learn and more efficiently tailor it to workplaces. Nice. Very good work on all that. That shit's not fun, and it's generally pretty hard to, like, start or get back into stuff like that. So, yeah. I imagine you've probably also been exhausted on top of just being, like, busy and stuff as well. I had my first CBT therapy, not the other session to help with the anxiety, depression. I have some homework to do from it, but that's also been good. That is really good. Was it that first sentence? Was it what the CBT thing? Probably. Yeah, no, I always, like, suggest, like, people, you know, therapists and psychologists and stuff like that, they exist for a reason, you know. It's very good that, like, more and more people these days are, like, actually, like, reaching out and taking care of their, like, mental health and stuff, because a lot of people in the past have just dismissed the fact that, like, mental health is part of your overall health and stuff. And yeah, you've got to make sure you take care of yourself one way or another. So it's good that, like, you're getting looked after for that sort of stuff. Because, yeah, you know, moving forwards and stuff, you've got to kind of gotta move forwards with like as sturdy a base of yourself as you can possibly do, you know? And not saying that everybody's gonna be like the most like fucking perfect statue pillar fucking of a human that they can possibly be, but be the best you that you can like deal with, you know? Applied for a job immediately after that deadline came in. I was denied despite a good application because they already had someone in mind, aka small town things. Yeah, no, I get that. So he promised his job to somebody, so now it's time to start applying to a whole lot more. I know that Bandit has been